woman is also in the mindset of, I want to build a foundation and structure.
Mm-hmm.
That's her mindset. Her mindset isn't necessarily every week I want to make sure I don't miss the episode of Baddies. Every week I'm gonna just smoke every day, or every week I'm gonna drink every day, or every day I'm gonna try to figure out how to be entertained. And her mindset is more on, oh, I actually looked into owning businesses, looked into stock. My hobby, I'm trying to figure out how I could turn my hobby into my business. That shit is attractive as hell. Like, period. That's attractive. That's like, she got a flame burning inside her. She's not just sitting around. She's not just letting her looks carry her through life. She can, but she's not doing that. She has a mind on her. That's, man.
Because what you
What is
have
it
to learn
called?
is like your looks can only take you so far, but also your looks is like when it's all you have, people look at you differently. Like people, they don't take you as serious, they don't expect much of you, and they treat you a certain way. Like I get treated a certain way just because people don't know my mind already. Like if you look at the comments on Instagram, oh, it's just another bitch shaking
Oh, I'm already
ass.
knowing. I'm
Like,
already
yeah,
knowing.
it's like they look at you a certain way, and I don't like to be looked at that way. Like, I wish everybody could know my mind so they know that I'm just not a piece of ass. But it's like, I don't know. It's like you have to have some substance because it's like, especially if you want to get into a relationship with somebody that also has substance and you want like a high value man or whatever the fuck. As long as you don't want a nigga for a paper bag, like you have to have some substance yourself to be able to attract somebody of substance. You have to,
Mm.
whatever you want to attract, you have to be it or have a goal to be it and have, different things to come together for you to be it. You have to work for it, right? If you want to be with a high value man, you have to be a high value woman or a woman of some type of substance to be able to attract that energy to you because you are what you attract. Like if you are a bitch, watching baddies and drinking and smoking, that's what you're gonna want. Like, yeah, that's what you're gonna attract. You're gonna attract low value men or low vibrational men, and then you're gonna sit there and wonder why you always getting cheated on, why you getting fucked over, why niggas don't treat you right, niggas ain't shit. Like, because bitch, you ain't shit. Like, what you expect? Like, what do you? I'm confused about what
Bro,
you expected. Like, I don't know. You over
I
here.
got a I got a question for you though, because you said you're in the Air Force or the
I was in the
Navy.
Air Force.
Air Force. Would you recommend people do that?
No,
Like,
they pay. I mean, don't get me wrong. It depends what you are going in there for. I went for the purpose of not knowing what I wanted to do. And then once I figure out what I wanted to do, then I was like, yeah, no, fuck this. Because it's like, I'm not going to lie, if it takes up a lot of your time, for one. Two, it's like you're very tired by the end of the day. You are going to be investing so much of your time in this low paying job that you're going to be so exhausted that you can't go out and venture out and study what you need to study for something else to try and build your portfolio or expand your mind. You're just going to sleep at the end of the day, right? Depending on what job you have. And I feel like that was a job that I had and I hated it, which is why I left. But if you're going in with a purpose, I feel like it's good. Like if you're going in for the purpose of them paying for your school, do it because they pay for everything. If you're going in for the purpose of taking out a loan through Navy Federal, but you have to have put in a certain amount of years or hours in to show credibility, then do it. Because sometimes people have that credit or whatever the thing may be. They want to make sure their family is taken care of while they go and receive funding, but they can't afford both. It's a good investment because your family is going to get taken care of, as well as you're going to be able to have the money and the funding to do what you want to do or fund your business. You might have to put in extra work because you're doing a hard laborious job and then doing whatever you need to do at the same time, but you don't have to worry about your family not being taken care of. It's like if you're going in with a purpose of funding, schooling, taking care of your family, it's great. But if you're going for the purpose of not knowing what you want to do in life, I wouldn't recommend it, only because it's like they will try and pound into you like you're so much like you are so important to the United States. Like, you being a soldier is just the most important thing in the world, because they want you to stay in there, so in case something happens, they can send you out there, and then when you die, they, send over a triangle to your family, and okay, bitch, get going.
They
Like,
write your name on
it's
the
like
wall
they
next to a
try
bunch of other
to
people
embed
who
in you
died.
so much that you need to be a soldier because it's the best thing for your life, that they will literally brainwash you. They will try to brainwash you so much for you to, just go for so hard for America. Like, it makes America your whole life, like your whole personality, your whole existence, because they want you to be a soldier. And it's like, if you go in with a purpose and you don't get subsided by that brainwash, then you're good, because you're going in there already having a purpose to fulfill. So all the other shit that they're trying to brainwash you to doing, yeah, you're letting it like roll off the shoulder, and you're doing what you need to do, and then you get in and get out. But if you're going there not knowing what you want to do in life, like, it's gonna be hard to like pull yourself out of that hole that they try to put you in. You feel
I
me?
brought it up because my sister, she's been super stressed with my nephew. He just turned, no, he's actually 20 now. He's still staying with it. He's still staying with her.
Mm-hmm.
But in my eyes, my son can stay with me as long as he wants.
Yeah.
Like, period. Like, this world is fucked up.
It is.
Like, I want you to figure something out, and if it means you got to be here and try to abide by my rules or not, because I know there's defiant kids and shit, like, I still want to make sure you're good. She's on some, like, I'm stressed out shit, right? And she's like, he should go to the Navy. In my head, it was just like, personally, I don't support any of it because it's war.
Yeah.
It's the militia. That's like you're from Mexico and you support the cartel in some way because you feel like that's your safety net.
Yeah.
And it's like, nah, they're murderers. They will murder you. Like, they'll murder you.
They will murder you, but they don't care about your life. Like, to them, you are disposable because there's so many of you. Mm-hmm. Like, essentially, you are disposable, and unless you become of like the highest rank where you fucking like work in the Pentagon, like, mm-hmm. and you have like secret information that you just only you can have, then you're somewhat of importance and you're not easily replaceable. But other than that, majority of soldiers, especially when just entering, like, you're fucking disposable. You're like an ant to them. Like, you know, big deal. Like, you an ant. Like, you can step on you and we're gonna have somebody take your spot. It's like, I wouldn't recommend it with any branch, but I mean, if you're doing it for the point of, like, if discipline, like, military school would be a good choice. You're gonna turn to a soldier, but defiant children, it's like, sometimes parents look for military school because there's really no other option. They're just so fucking defiant. There's nothing you can do. But it's like, if you're just doing it because you're stressed out and your kid is just sitting at home, like, I feel like that's a different story. I feel like you're supposed to do it for different purposes, you know?
Yeah, because the thing is, I'm not going to say, like, my family's fucked up at all. It's just, like, if you don't have the foundation, and the foundation is, like, not being passed on, mm-hmm. How do you expect your son to just be on game? Like, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It's like, I spoke to her about it. I was like, hey, I just got information on how to, like, get business loans, starting your LLCs, and pretty much starting your own business instead of working. Because my sister is one of the hardest working people I know. Mm-hmm. She has a job on job. She'll clock in all whatever, like, whenever. Mm-hmm. And it's like, she makes sure her kids are taken care of, and I always respected that. So she was one of the people I always wanted to go to and tell her about this information I had. And it's like, upon giving her that information, she follows up and says, I want him to go to the Navy. I was like, I just told you can start a business like anybody can. Like, you can make money. You can hire people instead of having to go work, essentially. Like, you might have to work your own business for a couple years, maybe, but that's not the same as working for somebody for the rest of your life. You know?
The thing is that I know from experience, it's like, there's a reason why people call working class people, like, a rat race, because it's just like, everybody is just, it's easier to just sit there and clock in and clock out, because it's like, you already know what to expect. It's a comfort zone, and you don't feel comfortable going outside your comfort zone because you don't know if you're actually going to profit from it or you're going to fail and you're scared to fail. And you know that your 9 to 5 job, it's always going to be there. That clock in, that clock out, and your hours that you put in, you already know what you're doing. You already know where you have to go, or you know where your job is, what time you have to clock in, what time you have to clock out. It's like a schedule, and it's easy, and people are comfortable, and they know they're going to get a pension or a retirement or a 401k at the end of the year. Like, they already know what to expect out of the longevity of working that specific place and position, that they just make it their whole life because they're comfortable. They don't have to put in no extra work. Like, they cool where they at, and they not complaining, and ain't nobody
We've all
really
met
pressuring. It's
that
like,
person that's at the job that just been there and it's like, man, I've been here for 22 years. I've been collecting
exactly. It's like, it's exactly that. And I used to be that because when I was younger and I was working my counseling job, it's like I was getting paid little to nothing, but I loved my job because I helped like low income people. But it's like I already knew what to expect. I would do the same thing every day, clock in, clock out, same time, Monday through Friday, right? It was easy, but it was like, fuck, like I'm drained from doing the same thing. Like, you get so bored and whatever the case may be. But a lot of people,
I think, I mean, that is the word. It is easier, but exactly the flip side of that is it's hard on your body, it's hard on your mind, it's hard on your time.
well, it depends what you're doing. Like, working construction and working at a desk, it's like the general aspect is the same thing. You do the same thing every day. But it's like if you're working construction, of course that's gonna be hard on your body. You can't. But they also know more than us, and they're more knowledgeable, or whatever the fuck it is. It's like it all comes down to us being animals as well. So it's easy to, like, how do you think they came up with the structure of schooling and knew that it was going to be compatible with our minds? They probably did it with animals first, and then tested it on animals, and they were like, oh, well, let's human test this, and then it ended up working, and then we just go from there. It's like everything, that's why everything is animal tested with rats, with rabbits, with dogs and cats, whatever, because
listen, it started with human testing before it got
really
yeah, everything was human testing. What you mean? It was
makes
more
sense. Okay, that makes sense.
Think about it. Go back.
Some
there
things
were slaves,
but like
there were slaves. There were people who were prisoners. There were people who back then it wasn't even like, even now, a guy right now could have a girl chained up in his basement and we just wouldn't fucking know. You know what I'm saying? But back then, you could have a whole village of people in bondage,
That's true.
There's nothing to stop that.
That's true. Yeah. So everything regarding scheduling was definitely started from the slaves, but I feel like it also started with like cavemen and stuff. They knew what time to hunt. They knew what time not to hunt. They knew certain things like that, and I feel like that also related to.
It's not cavemen. So that goes. So everything reverts to Africa. Overall, everything reverts to Africa. The caves, the cavemen, the cave people. That was after Africa. That was a development after Africa.
But how do you
think scheduling and stuff? As far as scheduling and stuff goes in time, in Africa, they used pretty much what Americans did, and what we got here is like they've spun such great tactics, such great information from like our ancestors into their own system, and they use certain parts of it to benefit themselves.
Wait, I have a question. Well, okay, so how do you think we became humans? Like, do you think we evolved from animals, or do you think that we were like the Adam and Eve story?
So I don't believe really the Adam and Eve story at all. I think that's just like I think that's one of those figurative stories. I don't think that's one to be taken literal. Okay. And I get it. And the moral of the story is listen to God. Like, listen to God. Like, God's leading you the right way. So the thing is, I've heard a lot about how human beings were created. Mm-hmm. And from what I've heard, it's beyond our knowledge, our actual celestial ancestors and shit. Like, it's like aliens and shit. Each one of us is like in a different species. Human, if you're a human version of an alien, or you are a full-bred human that's beyond like Africa, beyond like Asia. It's like celestial, like that. Not even here.
This podcast taught me so much. I remember when I learned that there was an actual like people actually used to like have a civilization in the Amazon rainforest. Like there was actually an irrigation system in the Amazon rainforest, but after the plague, everybody had essentially died or fled. So the irrigation system was left unmaintained, which is why there's a huge rainforest because everything grew over it. But if you look at like a 3D version from like a helicopter of the Amazon rainforest, like it'll show you the irrigation system. And I was like, wow, they teach that. I don't know. They taught me about the pyramids. Like, I'm a miss TikTok.
Oh my God, the Great Pyramid in Egypt is actually like a electric power plant. It's beyond that too. It's beyond that. Like that was the Wi-Fi. That was the energy. That was the everything there. Like it was the power source.
Really?
That's what that was. And notice it had like a fine tip to the top.
Yeah.
That was made of I forgot the name of the stone. All the pyramids are the grid.
If you watch the movie Transformers, they literally hid that little fucking thing inside of the pyramid, which is why when they went there and they tore that bitch down, there was like a whole motherfucking thing up in there. That's what that reminded me of. Sorry, it was very off topic, but
he said the tips of them were gold. So gold.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, it was gold. You know, it's a Wakanda in Haiti. Yeah, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that
either. The pyramid in Egypt, the Great Pyramid, is facing like directly up at the North Star. Mm-hmm. Like they put a pyramid right below it, like perfectly. It's like who could do this? Who could do this? You know what I'm saying? And it powered the land. It powered the entire land. So it was like, do you know about like Nikola Tesla?
A little bit, yeah.
So pretty much he learned how to, not learn, I don't know how he acquired this information, but he could transfer a small voltage of energy and turn a 10 watts into 50 million watts through a coil he created. So he'll turn a little shock, a little zzz, power your whole city.
Oh, yeah.
Your whole city.
I remember.
So with that knowledge, I don't know what it was. That wasn't taught in school. I don't know what that was, but they still harness it to have the electricity we have today. They still harness it because it's infinite. And they tell us we need batteries and buy it. And it's so disrespectful that they call the Tesla cars Teslas. It's like a smack in the face to Nikola Tesla. Because he wouldn't be, his cars would just run. Yeah. Like, you wouldn't have to battery pack nothing. It would just drive.